Sometimes when we get angry, our mind is locked into what's happening at this moment and the feelings that are rushing through us at the time. And of course, this emotion of anger that's channeled towards the source, or what we think is the source of our anger, usually a person. And at that time, we are often blinded by our emotions and unable to see behind that. So one of the things that we talked about was looking at outcomes. What will be the outcome of this? But another approach to our own anger is also the bigger questions, the larger questions. And those larger questions are a good way to distance ourselves from that conflict. An example of this would be that this person that I'm very upset with, does this person care about me in the long run? Or do they have absolutely nothing to do with me? And this is their way of ending this relationship. Do I want to continue this relationship? If it's a friendship, for example, do I want to continue this friendship with this person? Or do I want to end it over this little thing that has occurred? Another way to look at it is that, is it more beneficial for me to get along with this person, or is it more beneficial for me to not get along with them? If it's someone that we have been placed with, a classmate, a schoolmate, and we know that they're not going anywhere, I'm not going anywhere, so not getting along or not finding a way that will enable us to get along is probably going to create a great deal of problems and stress for us in the long term. And if it's a family member, well, family is family. They also don't go anywhere. We cannot dissociate ourselves, detach ourselves, disconnect ourselves from our family members, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us those family members. And they are a part of our lives, no matter what happens. So do I want to break this? And often, the gut reaction or the immediate reaction to anger involves in cutting oneself off, in breaking relationships, and sometimes in breaking real things. But we talked a little bit about that, about the outcomes. But one of the most important things to do is to ask the bigger questions. And the Prophet ﷺ, in many cases, guided us to asking the bigger question. Once he told his companions, you should never swear at your father. So the companion said, O Prophet of Allah, who would swear at his father? He said, well, he swears at the next person's father. He insults the other person's father, so the person comes back, insults his father. He was the cause of that. He was the cause of his own father being sworn at, being cursed, and it's as if he was the one who cursed his own father or swore at him. So asking the bigger questions. Do I really want to do something that's going to compromise everything I've been working towards, or everything my parents have been working towards? Sometimes it's good to take someone else into consideration. If I go and act out my anger right now, how many people is this going to hurt, and how many people is this going to affect? And sometimes that's enough of a deterrent. A person might not care so much about their own immediate interests, but they'll care about someone that they really love. And sometimes it's good to think in that way, that this person who I really love, my mother, my father, perhaps a sibling, how would they see this? Somebody that I really care for, somebody that I really look up to, if they saw me in this state, and they saw me acting this out, what would they think of me? And would I be pleased to tell them what I have done? And sometimes, it's good to imagine, what do I look like right now? The ulama have actually mentioned this as one of the methods of managing anger, that do I look really pleasant when I'm angry and upset? My eyes are bulging out, and I look like I'm about to devour someone. Do I really look pleasant right now? And do I want to look like this for the rest of the day or the rest of the week? And as opposed to how I look when I'm calm, when I'm in a good mood, when I'm smiling, people want to be with me, people see that I'm angry, it's going to distance people from me. So someone who is interested in keeping their friends would also be interested in keeping anger away from them. That's why one companion, when he came to the Prophet ﷺ and asked him for advice, the Prophet ﷺ simply said, stay away from anger. And again he comes back and asks for advice, and he gives him the same advice. And the third time he gives him the same advice. This anger has the potential of completely destroying our lives. And we talked about this a couple of lessons ago. It has the potential to ruin everything in our life, and even worse, ruin the lives of others. So let's ask ourselves the bigger questions. What am I ruining? What am I throwing away by acting out my anger? And sometimes that is enough to deter us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from the evil of our own anger. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala adorn us with the beautiful akhlaq, keep us away from those akhlaq that draw His displeasure and pull us away from Him. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi.